We are back with Autumn Estelle.
Hey.
Super excited to bring her to you. She's from the Baltimore, DC area, and she's visiting today the Glam On Demand studio.
Yes, thank you guys for having me.
Yes. All right, so let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
So who's Autumn Estelle, and tell them why you're here.
Yes, Autumn Estelle. Gosh, she's so random, and she just came out of kind of nowhere. I think she came out of just loneliness, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's for those of you who don't know Autumn Estelle, she's oversharing. She's just it's like my online journal. And so
It's like your alter ego.
it really, it's my alter ego,
But really
but
who you are.
exemplify
Yeah.
and who I am. And so she started in college, and in college was such a tumultuous time for me. I went through a lot of growth, and it's lonely when you go away to school for the first time. And so I've always struggled with my weight, and so I started, this is before Instagram was popping off. Tumblr was the thing, and so I remember sitting in the back of my classes, just being on Tumblr. I gained a lot of weight my freshman year, the freshman 15, who knows her, it was freshman 35, and I just wasn't feeling great about myself, so I started a blog to kind of hold myself accountable, but to also track my weight loss and just be able to check in with myself. And I had no idea what I was doing on Tumblr. This was before we knew anything about algorithms.
Any social media.
We were literally all just
MySpace.
yeah, no, it was literally just okay, this is where we blog. And
Yeah.
so I started to gain followers. It was almost just a little weight loss community. We would all celebrate each other, and all of that. So once I hit my weight loss goal, I was okay. And then Instagram came around, and I was oh, that's cute. What was your first Instagram post? Do you remember?
I really have no idea, to be honest with you. I'm sure it was something really
Somewhere
random and ridiculous, but
filter, just what is
our
this?
cameras back then,
Literally. Well, I was what is Instagram? And so at first, there was no rhyme or reason. I was just posting the most random stuff, college stuff. But my Tumblr people moved to Instagram, and we kept our little relationships. And so then, this is junior year of college. Now we're working our way through college. I cut all my hair off, and I was
which I love, by the way.
thank you so much. Long curly hair to very short. And so this is when Miley Cyrus had just cut off all her hair, Wrecking Ball era, and the short hair still wasn't a thing. And so you can still find these pages on Instagram for inspiration, shortcut inspiration pages. And so I took a lot of my inspiration from my haircut away from that. And so I cut off all my hair, was tagging the account, whatever. The account had a lot of followers. And so I would get all these designs shaved into my head. I was experimenting. And one morning I woke up and this account had reposted me. And overnight I had 4,000 new people follow me. It was crazy. And I was just what is happening? Again, this is before Instagram era, before people were making money on Instagram. So I was oh, cool, new friends. This is so fun. I don't know any of you. And so then fast forward to 2015, we know what the beauty space online started looking like in 2015. It started really growing and popping off. And so graduated and decided everything that I had just studied in college was no longer for me. And I was okay, what am I gonna do? I was always a glam girl in college. And so I was let me get a little job at a beauty retail store. Got a job, sucked in. And so still in the vein of oversharing my life, I was just so comfortable sharing my weight loss and sharing all the things I was doing. I just started sharing this journey of holy crap, I just spent so much money doing my undergraduate degree, and now here I am. And that's something that people go through, these
Totally.
life changes. And so again, it just people,
that's for a whole other episode.
do you know what I'm saying?
I could go on for days about that.
all of the pivots that we do in life. And so it just kept attracting people that had similar experiences, and we would bond. And so it just sort of continued to grow. I didn't have a large shout out after that, but the community that I built was super loyal. And so I started sharing my growth in the beauty industry, left the retailer that I was working at, started freelancing, doing a little bit more and more. And so as I continued to share just like everyday regular stuff, more and more people who were interested in what I was doing kept coming. And so, of course, it evolved. Algorithm, hashtags, like you get a little bit more intricate with what you're doing and intentional.
Advancing.
We're tagging things now, and now I'm like starting to realize like, oh, like this could be a thing. Of course, I'm obsessed with every influencer online, beauty influencers, whatever. So I started to recognize the opportunity. But for me, being a beauty industry service provider, doing local like weddings and things like that, like it's very important to me that like it wasn't this like just a ton of random people following me all around the world. Like I love that, I welcome that too, but it was more for my business. It was more for my business growth. I wanted to be doing beauty full time. I wanted to be having clients that were local to me. So I was very intentional about keeping things local, keeping things organic, just kind of avoiding like do we say like fake growth? Like inorganic growth. You know what I mean? Like the vibe like
the like for
like. The like little pods that people, because you're not bringing people in that one are local to you. It's just like you like me, I like you, we'll like together. So it's just like not as organic as what I was looking for. So fast forward to today, now I have a stable following that's local to where I live. And so when people think, okay, like I have an event coming up, I need an artist for something, people instantly think of me because they know I've been doing this for years. They've been following the journey. They see the work that I do. They see the progress that I make. And
they
so,
have a connection with you.
So like I'll book a client, they'll come in, they'll start talking to me. I've never met them in real life ever. And they'll start talking to me about like a breakdown that I had like 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, you
I'm
forget.
embarrassed for a moment.
I'm embarrassed, but I'm also like, girl, you've been sharing this stuff to the public for a long time, so like, don't act like that. So yeah, that's like a little bit of that. That's like my journey.
Okay, so now you're kind of like this influencer.
It's
pat yourself on the back now.
I mean, it gives me a little cringe. It does give me a little cringe to call myself an influencer because of, imposter syndrome and all the things that we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I am an influencer.
Yeah, for sure. Like even if you're influencing like your local market, like that's still totally an influencer.
Yeah.
And you mentioned working for beauty brands and in the beauty retail space. And also like I'm sure that you've gotten like sends.
Yeah.
Like from people.
For sure.
Have you like when you got those sends, did you like ask for them or they just organically like ask for your address? Like tell me a little bit more about like how that works.
Yeah. So first of all, like I've always dreamed of like receiving like product from beauty brands. Like, oh my gosh, like what?
Give me all the stuff I can buy.
Right, like hello. So I think that I'm a big believer in like manifesting what you want. And so I think just like first and foremost, like if you are able to identify what you want, you just have to keep that dream alive, whether it's in your head, whether it's like vision boarding, whatever that looks like. But I think being aligned first and foremost. So like when I graduated, I moved into the beauty space. I stayed in the beauty space because I was like, I love this space. This is what I want to do. Cool. I never like went and got a side job at like a bank. I never like waited tables because that doesn't do anything for me growth wise, relationship wise. Maybe I can meet someone who might need their makeup done, or like someone that works at a brand that, by waiting tables or at a bank. But like you're going to meet the people that you need to be connected with in the space that you want to grow in. So I kept very true to the beauty space. And so the connections that I was making out in the stores that I was working in or whatever that looks like, those connections to just random people hooked me up with the brands that, it's really all in who you know.
Yeah.
Is this making sense?
Totally.
I feel like I'm rambling.
No, that makes perfect sense. It really comes down to networking.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
Absolutely.
Even just how you grew your following, just in how you have connected with brands and things like that. It's all about the networking piece.
Yeah.
How do you nurture some of those relationships?
It really is just about like responding. Even if you don't have like the energy to respond, because like what we do, it's so like social and you're almost always on. But it is just like
hard for an introvert.
Yeah, so that's a whole other topic. Very hard for an introvert, but like just being kind in every interaction that you have. Like the industry that we're in is so small, even though it's so vast and huge at the same time. It's so small, and you will meet people again. So I think that just taking an extra moment to nurture, or like giving someone a little, like if you know that they like coffee and like you're at Starbucks and you want to get them a $5 coffee, you know what I mean? Just anything that lets people know that you're thinking about them. But again, networking, staying in the industry, and just the hustle, like staying connected, continuing to post online what you're doing, even you're just posting online and someone sends you a message like, hey girl, like do your thing, and you like it. Like that's all it takes. But like there is a bit of nurturing that needs to continue and be maintained. So
yeah, just to hold on to those relationships.
Absolutely.
And continue the following.
It's so important. It is so important.
Yeah. So is there anything that you'd like to wrap us up and say to like anybody out there that would love to be an influencer, or even just get into the beauty space in general?
Yeah, I think that it's so slow moving. It is a slow growing process, especially if you really are looking to build a community that is like organic to who you are. You have to stay consistent. And I don't mean like you need to post every single day on your main feed and in your stories, whatever, but like you can't just like ghost your people. You have to be, again, nurturing those relationships. If people are responding to your stories, you have to respond. But the consistency, like you can't just give up. It takes a long time, and I've been doing this now for like almost a decade, which like the gray hairs are showing, but yeah, just consistency really. And like everyone's gonna tell you that it's crazy, or like you can't do it, or you need to move somewhere, or you need to do this, like that, whatever. Just like do what feels right for you.
Yep.
So
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Autumn. It was so great to have you at the studio.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun.
Yes, we will do it again.
Yay.
We'll think of another topic, and you
so
have to
excited.
come back for it.
I'm so ready.
Awesome. Bye, guys. See you next time.